Okay, so last session we learned about how do we work with the CSS positions, huh? Right. So we learned about the static position and absolute position, fixed position, and one more. What is it? Sticky position. Sticky. So next, one more option is there, relative. Position relative. So we have a position relative. So the purpose of relative position, so it sets position of element relative to its parent. That's what position relative is. Relative to the parent element, it will set the position. So position relative is to the parent depending on. Yesterday we learned that the position relative, it is also actually, it is according to normal document flow. It is according to normal document flow. So removing from document flow, two positions are doing. One is fixed, another one is absolute. Those two positions will remove from the flow, but all other positions keep the element in the normal flow of document. So how relative works? For that we need a parent-child hierarchy. So let's create a container here. Yeah. So we have a div. So this is a parent container and ID as parent. Inside this, we have another div. This ID is child. So, and this is child container. And we will add effects here. So for parent, so width is some 300, height 300, border 2 pixels solid, some black. That is the parent and child. So width some 100 and height also 100 and border as 1 pixel solid red. Okay. Now this is the containers. We have two containers in the page. The parent container and the child containers. So this is the parent and child containers. Now I want to adjust the child container. So then position I am defining like this. Actually, for parent position for parent, we given as static. That means it is according to the document flow, static. Now here, the position of this we give as margin left. I am giving margin left. Margin left as 100 pixel. So this is 100 pixel. Parent container is in 100 pixel. Now the child container, in that we are defining position. Position relative. Relative position means with regard to the parent. So here position relative, and I am giving here left as suppose 100 pixel, and you see it is 100 pixel, but actually it is not 100 pixel from page. It is not 100 pixel from page. It is 100 pixel from home, parent content. That means its position is relative. Suppose if its position is static position, it will be there only. If its position is fixed, then it will be outside, because relative only will keep with regard to the parent. Anything else will move it with regard to the page. That means now it is 100 pixels with regard to the page. So if you want relative to parent, we have to use relative. That means with relative to the parent, it will be 100. It may go outside also, because your parent container width is 300. If you give 500, it will go out. It doesn't mean that it will stay inside. It is not staying inside. It is adjusting according to the parent. Don't think that it will stay inside the parent container. It will not stay inside the container. Its position is adjusted with regard to the parent container. So it may not stay inside. For example, here I am giving, so left as 500 pixels. 500 pixels, it will go outside. But 500 pixels with regard to the parent container, not to the page. So we are defining left, we are defining top as some 50 pixels. This will be with regard to the parent. With regard to the parent, how much you want to adjust the child, that you have to define by using a position called relative. If you don't give relative position, then it is not adjusted, because static position will not adjust left and top. Left and top, these will not work for static. They will work for only position fixed, or position absolute, or position relative. So relative position allows you to keep the content with regard to the parent. So it is affected by using left, right, top and bottom values. It is affected by using left, right, top and bottom values. So that is the position relative, how it works with the position relative. So syntactically, like this. So if we are defining the parent, based on the parent, the child position only I will give here. That is the syntax. So for parent, we have width 300, height 300, border and position static, and margin left. And for child, different size, but position is kept as relative. That is adjusting with regard to the parent elements. So these are all the positions we have. Static position, it will be according to the document flow, and it is not affected with left, right, top and bottom. Position absolute, removed from the document flow, but it is locked from scrolling. Absolute is not locked from scrolling. Fixed is locked from scrolling. Sticky according to document flow, but sticks to the position after it reaching specified position. Relative adjusts the element position with regard to its parent element. These are the options. So here we have a div. This is parent. And we have a div that is a child. So the child is kept inside the parent. Inside the parent. That is position, how the position is defined for element. So positions. Next important after the display position. Now we have another important in CSS. We have CSS float. The options for float. Options used for float. CSS float. We have only two options, float left and float right. So float allows to keep the content absolute left or right. To keep the content absolute left or right. It provides only left and right values. It provides only left and right values. That means you have to define some container and you can keep it float left, or you can keep it float right. Arranging the content to left or right. So this is very common. For example, you see the websites here. Suppose we have some Netflix. Yeah. Now in this, you see the content here. This is floating left and right. That means this image. So we have that image. I will use a snipe. Just snip. Okay. Let's take this image. Just this image I captured. So I given as banner 1. Some banner 1. Okay, let's keep in our project. See full stack web application public assets banner 1. Okay, it's already there. Let's name it as left banner 1. Okay, that is the page we have. Fine. Now I'm scrolling here, some other page. Okay, this is. So, and here, this, okay, only 2, or this we will take here. I will just take another snapshot for this. And I will save as banner right. So left banner, right banner. So we just have these two options. Now we need to define them. So let's go to the design, and here we need to just keep the float, simply style body, and background color as black. And here we are keeping a container. In this container, we are having so an image and some heading. So we will keep a heading, and here we say enjoy on your TV. That is the text we are having, and this is some paragraph we have. That's the paragraph we are having. And we have an image. Image source is assets. So right banner PNG. That's the image we are having. Now we are displaying that here. And font color we need to adjust. So I will go to the color, and color as white. So the other text contents are also here. And I am giving a font family some Arial. That will give the font family like this. I will adjust the image width some 200 and height as 200 pixels. The image width and height is defined. Now I just set here float right, and you can see that the image position is right. Now the point is it goes to right, but how to keep the content beside it? That is, you have to arrange in a row now. You can arrange in a row or you can arrange in a columns. For example, this image, it is kept above. If it is kept above these headings and it is floating right, it will be like this. We can arrange in row and columns, or you keep the image positions. Image position is kept above. That means the content, this will float right, and the other content will float left. Now, for example, this is kept in another div. That means the heading and paragraph is kept in another div. That is the heading and paragraph kept in another div. For this, I am giving an ID, left panel. And here we are using left panel. Left panel, some width as some 400 pixels. So left panel width 400 pixel, it will adjust like this. We can keep alignments according to our requirements. This is done by using float. We can keep the elements float left, or we can keep the elements float right, so that you can manage. And similarly, you can design the contents. This is one div. So in this div, you have the content displayed. Similarly, you have another div. In this, we have some left banner. So left banner 1, and here I given some more text as download offline. So movies, something. So here we are adding some more content here. Now these are the two containers. That means I will give ID, or we will put a class here. Class is like the class name I given as container. The same container class is given here also. So the class is container. Two containers are there. And for this, I am giving container. Class is dot. And I given margin top as suppose 100 pixel. That means it will adjust the space between them. You can adjust more space between them. Every container can have different space. And alignment, you have to adjust for the images now. See, both images you given float, right? That is not great. Already we know that. We can give different ID for this. That means the ID for this is left. So this is right banner. That means this is IMG right. I will give as IMG right. IMG right. And here better we use that ID. Hash IMG right. So capitalization, yeah. IMG right. That means it will affect only for that. For another image, you have to use another style and effects. That means we have another option. So we have this image ID as IMG left. And for this, what are the options we are defining? Hash IMG left. Width is 200 pixel and height also 200 pixel, and float as the left. Float left, that is the position defined for it. It will be like this. And you need to adjust the content beside it. You know the same conditions now, right? This is not left panel now this time. This is not left panel. We will give this name as what? Right panel. Right panel. For right panel, you can give a different height and width and you can configure. That depends. So you can adjust the space between them. You can configure according to your requirements. So the containers, I am giving both containers same. Instead of that, this is container 2. And for container 2, I am adding here. So dot container 2, that is second container. And margin top, some 200 pixels, margin top. That means second container will be little down. First container will be here, second container will be here. We can adjust the space between them and we can configure. So this is how you are defining the height, width and alignments. Of course, this width we haven't given. What is it? Right panel, that is right panel. So hash right panel. Right panel width is some 500 pixels. Then right panel width will be adjusted. We can adjust alignments, means I want text from right side, that you are going to learn now. We are going to learn in CSS how we can keep the content aligned from left, aligned from right. Text directions will be there. Actually, if I give text align what? Right. That means that content will be right aligned. But it should come from right side corner. That we will see. We can keep that direction. Depending on width and height you are configuring, how much width and height you are defining. Suppose I am giving this width and height as normal now. Width is removed for this, only alignment right, it will come from here. It will display the content aligned from right. Width you can adjust and you can configure. Width how? So depending on how much you are defining, width is defined as suppose 600 pixel, because depending on what content you are having. We can adjust to 700 pixel because we know the maximum adjustment. It will keep your content in this way because this is the actual size. This is actual size. I just zoomed for your visual sake. That is the actual size, 100% zoom. Actually, I am using this zoom level 150 to show you clearly from near, but you have to design at 100. At 100%, you know how much width you can give. I already told you we can have 1000 pixels, 1024 pixels width, 768 pixels height, the measurement for the pages. So based on that, now you can adjust your left panel, This left panel also it can be like 100 or it can be like 1000. Then it will display like this. Font size, appearance, everything depending on your requirement. So just our main intention to understand how to achieve the floating options, float left and float right. For any container you can configure. This example I will upload into the classroom. You can try that, right? Just the screen, what we designed, I will upload. So that is float options. Float options. You have to define float left or you have to define float right. Next important, after understanding the float, we have CSS display. CSS display. Now, this is also already we learned so many. Now, some more we have to understand clearly here. Actually, so it controls the display style of content on page. It controls the display style of content on page. And it comprises of values. It comprises of values. One is none, inline, block, grid, flex. Actually, display table is also there, but we don't use that anymore. We don't prefer using table anymore. So we are not using tables anymore. So display table also will be there, but we don't use that anymore because already I told you tables performance is not good. Better to arrange in grid ways, right? So table performance is not good. So already we know these options, but some more additional things we need to understand here. So we have display none, display inline, display block, display grid, and display flex. So what are these options available? So display none. Display none. So it hides the element. It hides the element. Display none will hide the element. That means element will be in the page, but it will not be displayed. You can hide it. And display block. So it will display element in next line. Display block will display element next line. And display inline, it will display element. It will display element in same line. It will display element in same line. And display grid. It configures grid. It configures grid to arrange information into rows and columns. It configures grid to arrange information into rows and columns. And for this we need some more options. I will tell you what are the options. Now one more, we have display flex. It defines a flexible grid that can adjust according to that can adjust according to page, according to page and device. That can adjust according to page and device. Device is either you are using on mobile or a tab or PC based on that. These are options. So how these options will work, we will see. We'll see. So let's see one by one here how to handle these display options. I will take another page here. I'm adding a page in public, so display. Okay. So here doc type HTML head title display. Now for example, suppose we have some container. Temporarily, suppose I have a image source, some shirt.jpg, some width and height. Like this we have. Now we are having an image. We are having an image. That is the image. We don't want to temporarily display that image. Actually, that we will control with our JavaScript. That means through JavaScript, we write a logic that once they turn on, then display. Turn off, then hide. That we have to design with buttons and all logic. So then how you can control the display, how you can on and off, how you can hide it. That means you have to just write the option here, style, and in the style display. So what is it? Image. Image display as none. Display none, that means it is not going to display that. But when I go to the inspect, in the elements, in the body section, you have that image. We have that image, but it is not displaying here. That means it is not removed from the page. It is there in the page, but it is not showing it. Whenever you want, again, you can display. Sometimes this is very handy because you are keeping that information and hiding it. That doesn't make any difference in performance of page. Then JavaScript will teach you, instead of hiding, you can remove from page. You can remove from page whenever it is not necessary. Then you can add to page whenever necessary. That's good. It improves performance. Displaying will not be much effective. Even you hide it, it is there in the page. It is there in the page. Only the point it is not shown. Right? Whenever you want to show it, again we have to set display. Display as what? We have two options, inline, or we can display as a block. Actually, what is difference? This is hiding. That means we will see an example. Hide element. How we can hide element? Image display as none. That is hiding element. Simple. Now, how we can use the other options here? Means what is inline, what is block like options here. Let's see. That means how display inline works. How display inline works. We will go to the design. Now we will create here a simple div, and this is having a class called form. That is, I will give the name as form group. Okay. In that we have a div. So input type is equal to text and the placeholder username. I am giving username. So in that another div, and here we have input type is equal to password and the placeholder. So we will put placeholder. Yeah. Placeholder is password. Your password. Password. Okay. And we have another div, 3 containers. We have a button as login. Now these are the options designed and they keep everything like this. Now we are just accessing that form group and we are keeping the display, because inside the group several containers are there and every container is one below another, and display all these containers in line. Display all the containers in line. That means they will display in line. But important here, this form group contains several containers. These are the divs. Those divs must be in line. That means what we have to do now, this in that form group, the div must be in line, because inside the form group we have divs. Those must be in line, because form group is already in line. It is in one line only. So the contents inside it must be in line. Now when you say in line, then it will be arranged in this way. That means it will keep the content side by side. And whenever you want, you can keep this content from inline to block. That will keep the content like this. And we keep the option inline, then it will keep inline. Now many times here, suppose I am giving display flex. We learned flex so many times. Display flex will not display. So this is keeping every element side by side. Another element will be slide by slide. To keep the element side by side. See, if I remove this div, that means form group as flex. Form group I am giving as flex. Now it will be side by side. That means what is the difference? Difference is nothing but flex means inside the container everything will be flexibly arranged. Inside the container everything will be flexibly arranged. Inline means, flexibly arranged means it will adjust according to the browser and device. It will adjust. Inline is not that. Inline is if an element is there, another element will be beside it. That's it. That element will be beside it. It is not flexible. It's not flexible. So that is the reason if we use display inline, it will not work for form group. That means why? Because inline means you are telling the next element how it should display. That means whether to display the next element beside it or display the next element below it. That's what you are deciding. So inline, if you are applying inline, then you have to apply for whom? We have to apply not for form group. We have to apply for the div. Because in the form group we have this div. Inline means it will keep that in that line and next element will come in the same line. And next element also in the same line. That means every element will be in the same line. That is the important point. Because people initially who don't know all these CSS and all, immediately they run and come. What is difference between flex and inline? Once you learn CSS, you will understand every concept detailedly. You should not have excitement more. In the beginning levels, people usually have, right? And they have an immediate question. What is difference with? You wait until you wait to learn the concept. You will understand everything detailed. So many things are like that confusion because we haven't professionally learned CSS. Now we are learning. Earlier we just used according to situation. Now once you know, then you will know how to apply them, where to apply, how to apply, whether to use flex, whether to use inline to apply to which element, flex to apply to which element. That means actually remember one option here. Whenever you are designing a container, and in this container again some containers are present. That means that I will show you in another example, other containers are present. So other containers are present. Now when you are saying flex is deciding how to display all these inner contents. Understood? How to display all these inner contents. Flex is deciding how to display all these inner contents. That means whether to display all the inner contents side by side or one below another. The flex is deciding for all these inner contents, but not inline. Inline is deciding this element with regard to second element how. Understood? That means the inline is deciding this element with regard to the beside element how. It is not related to third element also. It is related to the element beside it. It is not related to others. It is related to just element beside it. That's what actually inline is. Inline. So where you apply inline, that is important. So here we will see in the option like this. That means we have a form group, and in the form group we have div, and for the div we are giving display as inline. That means we have a main container, and that main container is form group. And inside this you can have divs. This is one div, that means username, just roughly I am giving. Another div that contains password. So another div that contains button or something else. You can keep any number of divs inside it. So the difference, how inline works and how flex works, we will see now. This is inline, display inline, how you are configuring the content side by side. If you want to keep one below another, then we have to just use display block. So same option, form group, inside the div, and every div should be one below another. We don't want anything beside it. Then what we have to do, we have to use display. Display as what? Block. I will show you another point, another example. You can see. Already I showed you in a validation when we are displaying the message, where you want to display the message, whether you want the message beside or whether the message below. Already in validation I showed you. If you want to display beside, then you have to use display inline. Below, then you have to use display flex. Display block. Right. That is basically display none and display inline and display block. Now what is display flex? Let's see. What is display flex? Actually, flex uses a flex container. It uses a flex container. Flex container. The flex container can configure options like flex direction and another option, flex direction, and like flex wrapping, flex direction and flex wrap. display flex contains the flex container. So it contains the flex direction and flex wrapping, which we haven't seen yet. So flex wrap already I showed you, we designed a card-like design, if you remembered, right? But I will show you here one more. See, so flexible display is like, let's keep one content here. So this is the div and the class as container. In that div, so we have box 1. Okay. And I am writing here, this is box 2. So we are creating some divs and configuring box 3 and box 4, and we have like box 5, 6, some 7 and 8. Okay. We have some containers designed here, 8. Okay. Initially, we will put here class, all these divs are there. Okay, dot container. Container, in that container, we have a div. So here we are having div width. So div width is equal to some 200 and height also 200. Some 150 pixels, okay, and height also 150 pixel, and border as 2 pixel solid black, and margin in all directions we will keep as 20 pixel. So these are all the divs we are having, all the divs we are having. That means the 8 divs we designed, this is the original size. And let's keep 100 smaller so that you can see wrapping easy. Okay, this is the boxes. Now we have the boxes 1 to 8 here. Now what important is, all these are present in a main container. All are present in a main container. So we are accessing that container and we are giving display as flex. When I say display as flex, then it will have a flexible display like this. Now, you may feel like this is inline. This is not inline. Why? Because now see what happens when I am changing the width of this now. When I am changing the width, you can see it is adjusted up to certain level. After that, scroll bar is coming. So you have to scroll left and right. The width is adjusted up to certain levels, and after that again scroll bar is coming. Why? Because currently you designed the flex box in such a way that it have to keep everything in that line only. That means no wrapping. But we want to wrap to next line. We want to come to next line automatically when it reaches the border. That means now what we have to do is, when you are using flex, you can use flex wrap. So flex wrap. Flex wrap as wrap. We are using wrap. By default, it is no wrap. We are using wrap. Wrap means automatically come to next line when it reaches the border. That means now you can see the boxes will be adjusting to the next line. That is good. I don't want it to adjust its size. So I want it to remain its size in a normal way. Generally, direct flex will adjust the size, but we don't want the size to be adjusted. It should keep in the same size. It should keep in the same size. Width is not enough, come to next line. That means when you are adjusting the width, it comes to next line. It comes to next line. If you are zooming, you can see that it increases and it will be only 1. So when it is displaying in single column, suppose you are watching on a mobile, it will be in this, and we are adjusting the width, then it fits accordingly. It fits accordingly. This is the concept of flex with wrap. Without wrap, it will shrink the content. We should not shrink the content. So shrinking content should happen only if it is little bit more than the screen, because it's okay adjusting 1:2 ratio of the screen, it's okay, but much shrinking is not good, because people can't see that clearly, because it will blur out the contents. So we don't need to disturb the size, keep the size in the same, and adjust the wrapping. That you can do wrap. One more option is that we can also define flex direction. We have flex direction. Flex direction we can define in column, we can define in row, we can define in row reverse, column reverse. Flex direction is column, that means it will be always column. Flex direction is column, then it is always column. That means it will not be side by side, it will always one below another, not side by side. It will not fit also, it will come in only one column. You can define here, so the column with reverse, column reverse option. Column reverse option, you see the latest will be at the top. Box 8 will go top. Generally what we do is we add new products into the page, and latest products must appear at the top. We keep the top. That means this will be very important later when we are dynamically adding the content into page, because currently we have statically 8 boxes, but later what happens is this is linked to database. In database, one more product is added, one more box will come. That means automatically it will pull the data from the database and it will display it. This will be adjusting according to the data you are adding. Every day you don't design. Every day we won't design. So we design and we link this to our backend database and server side technology. In the database, we just update the details and automatically it is pushed to the front end. Front end is not the content which you edit every day. That means if client wants, so one more product, you will not design one more on the screen. That will never happen. That means you design the front end and you link it to the back end and add new details in the back end. It will be reflecting in the front end. That connection we will able to do. So when we learn our back end technologies, initially reverse will keep the latest content at the top. That's the reason I given the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 numbers. If I don't give the numbers, we just only boxes, so you will not see any difference in that, right? Of course, if you have images, then it's good. Some images are there inside it, then it will easily display that. Now, one more option is there. You can have a flex direction as a row. That means by default it is row. And flex direction we can have row reverse. Row reverse. Row reverse will display like this. Row reverse will display like this. That means now see, according to the width, the adjustment will happen. So according to the width, adjustment will happen. But remember, this will be from right side alignments. That means right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. It will be aligning your content from the right side. That is row reverse. You just define row, then by default flex direction will be row. And if you define column, default will be column. You can latest things stop, then you can get it with the help of rows or reverse options, column reverse or row reverse. That is combination of flex. All these days we used flex, but flex contains some options like direction and wrap. We have to use that combination correctly, right? Let's design one more and see. First, we will keep an example for this. So we have a div, and this is, first I will give the style. Style. So we have a container. For the container, we are defining display as flex. These examples I already posted into Classroom. So yesterday I uploaded some documents. In that we have a display document also. In that these examples will be there. Just syntax I am giving here, right? So display flex, and we have flex wrap as wrap, and we have flex direction as column, or you can give row, or you can give column reverse. You can have reverse, and we can have row reverse. These are important flex directions. Flex direction and flex wrap. So that is how we can design the content flexible. Still, we have one more option that we will see in the next concept. That is, we will learn about responsive design. When we learn about responsive design, this all comes under that category. Some more options will be there. So this is flex, how we can do. And you can keep any content. If you remembered, we already designed a card-like. We designed a card-like appearance. So in that card somewhere we designed tables, nav bars. Which one? Hi, it's fine. It's okay. So, but we already learned it now. Already I showed you cards, header, footer, cards, how we can display them. Let's create one example like that. So just basically, so I'm designing here a page cards.html. Okay. Let's create the design and see. Doc type HTML head and title cards, and in the body we have a div. So we will use the class as card deck. Actually, this type of terms you will see in future in Bootstrap like things, you will see that. I have a card deck. Inside this we have a div, and for this we are defining a class called card. Inside that again a div. In that we have a class called card header. So in that we have some content, some Nike casuals like this. And below this we have another div. I am giving the class as card body. And in that we have an image, source, assets, some shoe.jpg. So width and height is defined. Okay. And we also have another option class called card footer. And here we will just put a paragraph with some price. So price, some price. Okay. Just roughly. And in the card footer we have a button. And let's link the Bootstrap icon here. Link relation is style sheet. href is equal to node modules bootstrap icons.css. Okay, here I am using a span. So class bi and bi cart 4. Okay, and say add to cart. This is one option designed. This is the page we designed. Let's run. And that is the content we are having. Now we will create here. So this is card. In that card, we are having a card deck. In the card deck, we are designing all this. This is one card. I will copy. And this is another card. So here we say some boot. And here, so show 1.jpg, some different price. And we have another card. So this is like some shirt and some price. Okay. And here we change the image as a shirt. And we have another card. So this is like jeans. Okay. And here we have some image and everything fine. Okay. Now like this, we have some cards designed, some speaker. Okay, and here we said speaker.jpg, some price. Okay. Now these are all the cards available here. These are all the cards available here. Now we need to keep a different height and width. For that, we are adding style. In the style, first card, every card. So we have defined width as some 200 pixel, and height is card height. We will not use height. We will keep the height according to the content, right? So, and we designed a border. So 2 pixel solid, some gray, and some box shadow. So 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, some light gray. Okay, like this. Now we have these cards and with padding. Padding I defined as some 20 pixel padding. That is fine. And we defined margin as 20 pixels all directions for the cards. This is the actual size of those cards. So, and we are just designing it. Then we have options like card header. So then background color, some color. So light salmon, some color, and the background color will be like this. Actually, if we want, we can define the height as suppose 100 pixel, then it will display the height for like this. I will just use a card header text align. I will not use others. Center. And card body also text align as center. All these things we are just defining center. And we have a button, and button width is equal to 100%. We will fill the button to 100%. And the font size is some 20 pixels. And background color as suppose some color, and color as white, and border as none for the buttons. That means all the buttons will be like this. We will add some padding as 5 pixel for every button. It will be in this way. These are all the cards we design. Now what we want to do is, because these all cards are kept, these are all kept in a card deck. We kept all these cards in a card deck. Here we have to use card deck class. This card deck will have display as flex. It will have display as flex. That means it will give a flexible display like this. It will give a flexible display like this. But important is, this is the actual size. Some contents are right side. So now what happens is, even you adjust the width, user have to scroll right and left. Scroll right and left. Even you are adjusting the width, you have to scroll left and right. So we have to define as what flex wrap as wrap, and it will wrap in this way. Now the contents will be arranged like this. Content will be arranged like this. Now some more options are there, we will see now. Here the arranged like this, and according to the zoom or width they will be adjusting. According to the zoom or width they will be adjusting. So that means you are adjusting the width and they will fit accordingly. Adjusting the width, they will fit accordingly. Fit accordingly. They can display accordingly. This is the flexible design of the contents. And already we have the options. So here flex wrap, okay, wrap, and flex direction. Flex direction column. Flex direction column will display like this. And we have column reverse. Reverse will display the latest one top. Latest one top. That means the images are rearranged like this now. Right? So, and very important, now I defined in row. Default it is row. It is configured into row. Now, how you want to display multiple rows and columns depends on how many contents are present. Here you cannot tell how many rows and columns because it is according to the width and height of your browser and content. But when you are adjusting some here, see what happens is when we are changing the size like this. Now you can see it will be in this way. Now right side some space came because right side one element cannot fit, then space comes there. This looks uneven for some contents because one row different, another row different. Then what we can do is when you are displaying flex wrap and content, you can use the options. That means here you can align items in a flex container. Align items in a flex container horizontally and vertically. Horizontally and vertically by using the attributes. What are those attributes? You know, already we discussed. One is justify content. Another one is align items. I already told you this. Justify content is horizontal alignment. Align items is vertical. Justify content and align items. Now, this is important, especially when you are keeping the flexible displays. Flexible displays. When you are keeping flexible display, how we can keep the content justified, align items. See, actual now option I am defining in the card deck, justify content. Justify content, we have the options like space between. Justify content, space between. Actually, justify content, important options. We have justify content, space between, and around evenly. Space between, around evenly. Justify content have the options like space between, around, and evenly. So here I am defining space between. When I say space between, you can see it adjusts the space between. That means it will put the space between them correctly. It will adjust the space. If you are wrapping to multiple lines, then you can see all the contents will be like this arranged. That means this space between them will be correctly arranged. So for that we have to use space between. But very important, space between will keep the space between. What is space around? Space around is nothing but space around is the space left and right side also. Earlier we don't have the space left and right. Left and right means this is the space. So left and right space means around means it will adjust here also. Previously it was adjusting only between. It is not adjusting around. That's the reason here you see the around will come. So here you can see around space is there. Here we have more space left and right, because it is adjusting not only between, it is adjusting around. So this kind of alignment will be very good, especially when you are using some text content also. In other designs I will show you, if you are using some text contents, it will give a good appearance also. That means text will be adjusting according to the content, from center, from alignments and all. Justify content, you have one more option. Evenly, you have around, and you can also use center. That means it will keep the content to center. This already we used to keep the content center. One option I told you, horizontally, vertically center on page, how to design. For that we are using justify content center. Now once you define this, suppose I am giving some space evenly, I am giving like space evenly, it is space evenly adjusted. I am giving like space between will be adjusted in this way, right? And another important is we have align items. Align items vertically. Actually, so align items will be like this. Align items. We can keep it align items. Center, that means it will keep the align items center. And align items, we will have items not only center, we also have align vertically, means you know 3 positions will be there, top, center and bottom. But for that your container should have height also. If container is defined with height, then only this align will come. We have the options like baseline. So we can put baseline, we can put align, or we can also use stretch. But these options will not work until or unless height is defined. So height is defined. That means for this kind of content is not suitable. Others I will show you. Another example we will see. We can keep baseline, or we can keep stretch. So we can keep center. Here for that we need to have height also correctly configured. But our container means our design is not suitable for align items vertical. Our design is suitable for only horizontal currently, because to use that, suppose the card deck is having card also there. Yeah, we have the card, and for the card deck I am giving height as card deck height as suppose 400 pixels, and you will not see any difference here. And I will give border as 4 pixel solid, so some black, and we have some padding as some 30 pixels. Now you can see the main container is like this now. Main container, that is the card deck, is present like this, and height I will give as some 600 pixels. It will be in this way. Now extra content is overflowing now. You know how to control it. What is it? Overflow we can give as auto, then extra content will be overflowing now. Extra content will be overflowing now. That means you can keep in this way. Now, generally, when you are defining align items now, align items, stretch, align items, adjust, it will be according to that height. According to the height. That means from top to bottom, you can see some space above. There is some space above, and you can see the some space below also, and it is some space between also. That means it stretches and fits to the content. For this kind of content, it is not great. It is not great in visualization because our design is completely different, not good for this type of design. We will create another one, another layout, and in that we will apply that. We can see it clearly. So you can use align items center, you can align items, stretch, and keep the options baseline. That means at the bottom it will come. It will come. That already we designed, if you remembered, for a login screen, keeping the contents in correctly centered. So what is that align items used for? Let's see. Suppose we have a registration form. This is the form. So suppose we created a registration form. The form looks like this. How to keep it correctly center? To keep it correctly center, we already learned that point. So make sure that this form is kept. This form is kept in a div. And what we have to do, div is class as what? Container. What are the attributes to define now? So in the style, so we have container. What is display? Display as what? Flex. Flex. And height. Height is some 500 pixels. And now justify content to what? Center. And align items also center. That means now it will keep the content center. That depends on what kind of content we are using. This already we learned. We already discussed how do we keep vertically center. That is align items center. So if I defined align items as suppose baseline, it will be top. Depending on the height, how you are configuring. I want it to stretch. Stretch is not suitable here. Why? Because for stretch, below it some more should be there. That means some more containers should be there. Then it will stretch. So you can keep it to what? Center. That means it will be vertically centered. Depending on how you want to display the content. So these are the options we can configure. Right? This is vertical and horizontal display, and while working with display flex. Now what is display? Another option is there, that is display grid. That we will see tomorrow, right? In the next session, because on grid several examples also we will see now. So once we finish the examples on display, I will give you a complex exercise now. Tomorrow I will give an exercise on this layout. I will give you a screen design. You have to design it and submit. We will see, right? So I will show you one sample, and based on display, float, and whatever we learned up to now, we can put it in one website template, and we can design a template that we will see in next session. Tomorrow we'll continue with that. Okay, right?